The University Don, Professor Carl Adams, has called on the federal government to urgently address the current crisis in the energy sector in order to create a huge impact on food security. Adams, the Vice Chancellor at Cosmopolitan University, Abuja, said this in Abuja in an interview with Signature Television. According to him, a developing nation as Nigeria must strive to conquer hunger for the teeming population in order to remain relevant by providing the needed energy to drive agriculture and agro-allied enterprises. He said the country had enormous potential to becoming a net exporter of various agriculture products, having been blessed with so much crops and vegetables grown in its six geopolitical zones. The Vice Chancellor also advised the federal government to venture into manufacturing of electric vehicles for sustainable transportation of goods from rural areas to other cities. He said governments should partner the private sector to achieve sustainable transportation modes using clean energy, which in turn would ensure environmental cleanliness. He added that such approach would drastically reduce food importation and inflation in Nigeria. He expressed dismay that governments at the lower levels had abdicated their roles in promoting agriculture, thereby leaving many farmers at subsistence level. He said such mindsets should be changed, as agriculture rather than oil should drive the economy of Nigeria. Meanwhile, staff of the National Agency of Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) embarked on an indefinite nationwide strike on Monday following the expiration of a 14-day ultimatum issued to the agency's management. This is coming after a meeting convened on Friday, October 4, 2024, over the unresolved issues. The staff's demands include a review and re-evaluation of the 2024 promotion examination results, which currently show a pass rate of only 35%. The union is also advocating for a minimum benchmark of 80% for this year's and future promotion exams. Another significant demand is the settlement of salary arrears for employees hired in 2022. In a statement signed by the Association Secretary Joe Michael, the union accused NAFDAC management of neglecting their grievances, labeling the inaction as insufferable. The striking workers, following the directive of the Senior Staff Association of Statutory Corporations and Government-Owned Companies, have been instructed to withdraw all services and vacate their offices. They were also told to remove personal belongings as the strike commences. The workers have vowed to continue the strike until all demands listed in their communique are fulfilled. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention (NCDC) reports on its official website that 54 new suspected mpox cases were recorded in Nigeria during week 39 of 2024, marking a decline from 75 cases reported in the previous week. According to the agency, the number of confirmed mpox cases increased with 6 new confirmations in week 39 compared to 3 the week before. Despite the rise in confirmed cases, it said that the country has maintained a low case fatality rates with 0 deaths recorded from confirmed cases in 2024. The Public Health Agency noted that as of week 39, 25 states and the Federal Capital Territory have reported confirmed cases of mpox affecting 57 local government areas. Plateau, Delta, FCT Katsina, and Imo states confirmed new cases in the past week. It said that the National Mpox Emergency Operations Center continues to coordinate the response to the outbreak, collaborating with multiple sectors and partners to contain the spread. The NCDC explained the importance of preventive measures, including avoiding close contact with symptomatic individuals, maintaining good and hand hygiene, and using protective gear when caring for suspected cases. The agency said it's also actively engaged in public education, encouraging citizens to report symptoms early and adhere to isolation guidelines is diagnosed with mpox. Still to come, Albanian anti-government protesters clash with police. Florida prepares for Hurricane Milton, still recovering from Helena. Do stay with us. No, don't finish. Thank you. Welcome back. You're watching Global News on Signature Television. The Democratic Republic of Congo expanded its Mpox vaccination campaign on Monday, with health workers in North Kivu and South Kivu provinces receiving shots. Many at-risk individuals remain unvaccinated as the country battles to contain a widespread outbreak. The rollout follows Saturday's limited launch when a small number of officials were vaccinated in Goma. Health officials said vaccination centers were established outside Goma in North Kivu and near Bukavu in South Kivu. According to the World Health Organization (WHO), Congo has reported over 30,000 suspected and confirmed mpox cases since January, accounting for 90% of Africa's cases this year. With 265,000 vaccine doses available and more expected, health authorities aim to curb the virus's spread, which the WHO declared a public health emergency of international concern in August. However, officials acknowledge that current supplies are insufficient to meet the country's needs. Meanwhile, three suspects accused of stealing millions of dollars worth of cash from President Cyril Ramaphosa's game farm in 2020 appear in a South African court on Monday after igniting a scandal that nearly toppled the president 2 years ago. Emanuela David, Danisho Joseph, and Froleana Joseph face charges including housebreaking and theft. The case was adjourned until November 26 at the regional court in Limpopo province. Bail was extended for the Joseph siblings arrested in November last year, while David was ordered to remain in custody. The affair, dubbed Farmgates, came to light when South Africa's former spy chief Arthur Fraser told police in June 2022 about the incidents, accusing Ramaphosa of money laundering, corruption, and covering up a large theft of foreign currency. Ramaphosa, a wealthy businessman before becoming president, has denied any wrongdoing in June 2023. In fact, the anti-corruption watchdog cleared him of a potential conflict of interest related to the money found inside a sofa on his Fala game farm. The scandal nearly cost Ramaphosa leadership of the African National Congress (ANC) in late 2022, but he survived the challenge from other party members. Jordan's Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi on Monday warned of an escalating regional conflict during his visits to Beirut, where he met Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati. Safadi said that Jordan was prepared to provide all the possible assistance to Lebanon to address the consequences of this brutal aggression, which constitutes a clear violation of international law. Meanwhile, Albanian police fired tear gas to disperse opposition protesters who hurled petrol bombs at government buildings and smashed city property in Tirana on Monday as they protested against the government of Prime Minister Edi Rama. Protesters were demanding Rama step down and caretaker government be installed until next year's general elections, accusing the government of corruption, nepotism, and trying to silence the opposition. The police said 10 officers had received injuries from petrol bombs and other thrown objects. Besides calling for Rama's resignation, protesters were also demonstrating against the House arrest of opposition Democratic Party leader Salih Berisha on corruption charges for actions he took while serving as Prime Minister. Berisha has denied wrongdoing. They also demanded the release of an opposition member of parliament jailed last week for allegedly making a false report against the former Interior Minister. The lawmaker Ervin Saliaji has denied wrongdoing and described the trial as politically motivated. Meanwhile, Israeli armed forces struck Gaza with airstrikes and artillery on Monday as Israel was marking the October 7th Hamas attack that sparked the current war in Gaza. In addition to strikes, military activity and fighting on the ground could be observed in the devastated Palestinian enclave. Hamas launched rockets into Israel at the start of its October 7 assault last year and burst across the border, rampaging through towns. They killed some 1,200 people and took about 250 hostages to Gaza, according to Israeli figures. Israel responded with an offensive in the Strip, which has laid waste to the densely populated coastal enclave, killed almost 42,000 people, according to Palestinian health authorities, and displaced most of 2.3 million population. Meanwhile, an agricultural area near Tel Aviv was hit by a rocket on Monday after Hamas armed wing said it launched an attack near Tel Aviv with a missile salvo. Israeli police spokesperson Dean Elsdun said that the rockets fell right outside of the front door of a family home on the farm, with two people lightly injured in the strike. Emergency services, the fire department, and home front command officers were at the site, where several cars were damaged, Reuters footage showed. The attack came on the first anniversary of the shock cross-border October 7 rampage of Israel by Hamas-led militants that ignited the war in Gaza. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden remembered the victims of the 2023 Hamas attack with a candle lighting ceremony at the White House on Monday. Biden was joined by First Lady Dr. Jill Biden as Washington area Rabbi Aaron Alexander recited the God full of mercy, the Jewish prayer for the soul of the person who has died. Earlier, Biden condemned the brutality of the October 7 attack, paid tributes to the people, including American citizens killed and kidnapped, and said he remained committed to Israel's rights to defend itself a year on. A Russian court on Monday sentenced U.S. citizen and ex-Marine Robert Gilman to 7 years and 1 month in prison for assaulting a prison official and the state investigator, the local prosecutor's office says. Gilman is already serving a 3 to 1.5 year sentence for attacking a police officer while drunk, a charge he was convicted of in October 2022. Prosecutors in Voronezh, a city about 300 miles south of Moscow, where Gilman is incarcerated, said he had attacked a prison employee and a state investigator on separate occasions in the autumn of 2023. Reuters was not immediately able to contact a lawyer for Gilman. The U.S. Embassy in Moscow did not immediately reply to a request for comment. Russian state news agency RIA said Gilman, whose lawyers have previously told the TASS state news agency that he had come to Russia to study and obtain citizenship, had pleaded guilty to all the charges. RIA cited Gilman as telling the court last week that he had been forced to use violence after the prison inspector had caused pain to his genitalia and after the investigator had insulted his father. Gilman is one of at least 10 U.S. nationals behind bars in Russia 2 months after a prisoner swap between Moscow and the West on August 1st freed 24 people, including 3 Americans. Meanwhile, U.S. scientists Victor Ambros and Gary Rocon won the 2024 Nobel Prize in Medicine for the discovery of microRNA and its crucial role in how multicellular organisms grow and live. The Nobel Assembly said that the laureates discovered the new class of tiny RNA molecules which play a crucial role in gene regulation. Their work helped explain how cells specialize and develop into different types, such as muscle and nerve cells, even though all the cells in an individual contain the same set of genes and instructions for the growing and staying alive. Ambrose is a professor at the University of Massachusetts Medical School, while Rocon is a professor at Harvard Medical School and also affiliated with Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. The winners of the prize for psychology or physiology or medicine are selected by the Nobel Assembly of Sweden's Karolinska Institute Medical University and receive a prize sum of 11 million Swedish crowns, 1.1 million US dollars. Florida is preparing for its largest evacuation since 2017 as Hurricane Milton intensified in the Gulf of Mexico on Monday on its path towards the U.S. state's western coast, coming on the heels of a devastating Hurricane Helena. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said additional resources have been allocated to remove debris from Hurricane Helena that poses an additional danger now that Hurricane Milton moves near the western Florida coast. There's another track up. There's another track up. There is. You see? There is. There's I can see it. Okay. Kevin Guthrie, director of Florida's Emergency Management Division, urged people in the Tampa area to evacuate, warning drowning deaths due to storm surge as are 100% preventable if they leave. According to the NHC, Milton is located about 150 miles west of Progreso, Mexico, with maximum sustained winds of 150 mph. North Carolina, Florida, and much of South are still recovering from the massive destruction caused by Elena, which killed more than 200 people across 6 states, making it the deadliest named storm to hit the mainland U.S. since Hurricane Katrina killed nearly 1,400 people in 2005. Meanwhile, wildfires in Bolivia have burned through more than 10 million hectares this year, mostly in the country's tropical east, smashing records for its worst ever fire season and scorching an area the size of Iceland or Cuba. The new figures released on Monday by non-governmental organization Terra Foundation represents the equivalent of nearly 19 million American football fields. Fires in recent months have propelled Bolivia past devastating fire years in 2010 and 2019. Santa Cruz, a wealthy farming region in the country's eastern lowlands near Brazil, has been the hardest hit, accounting for almost 7 million hectares of the total, followed by the nearby department of Beni with 3 million hectares. Government shared numbers until September. The most recent available tallied 4.6 million hectares of burned forest and 2.3 million hectares of grassland. September was by far the worst month this year. Bolivia's government declared a national disaster last week after demands from local authorities, community organizations, and citizens for more forceful intervention. Scientists say that while most fires are set by humans, recent hot and dry conditions from fossil fuel driven climate change are helping fires spread more quickly. South America has been hit by a series of heat waves since last year. Bolivia's fires have been exacerbated by droughts and land clearances linked to booming cattle and grain production. The National Disaster Monitoring Agency said rivers in the Amazon rainforests are suffering due to Brazil's worst drought since the 1950s. Satellite images from Planet Lab Incorporation show the extreme droughts affecting Tefek, Quarry, Manacapuru, and Manaus waterways. Below average rainfall even through the rainy season has plagued the Amazon and much of South America since last year, also feeding the worst wildfires in more than a decade in Brazil and Bolivia. Researchers say climate change is the main culprit. Scientists predict the Amazon region may not fully recover moisture levels until 2026. Last year, the drought became a humanitarian crisis as people reliant on rivers were stranded without food, water, or medicine. The port of Manaus measured the Rio Negro River at 12.66 meters on Friday, according to its website, surpassing the previous all-time low recorded last year and still falling rapidly. The Rio Negro is a major tributary of the Amazon River, the world's largest river by volume. Paul Pogba's doping suspension was cut from 4 years to 18 months after exporters supported the French soccer player's claims of having unintentionally ingested a banned substance, the Court of Arbitration for Sport (CAS) said on Monday. The France international was previously or provisionally suspended by Italy's national anti-doping organization NADO Italia in September 2023 after testing positive for DHEA, a banned substance that raises levels of testosterone. CAS reduced the sentence last week, with Pogba saying his nightmare is over. The 31-year-old, who has a contract with Italy's Juventus until June 2026, will be eligible to return to football in March. In a statement, CAS said Pogba had argued that his injection of DHEA was not intentional and had occurred after he consumed a supplement prescribed to him by a medical doctor in Florida. Pogba last played for Juventus in a 2-0 win at Empoli over a year ago. He had a disappointing second spell with Juve due to injuries since he returned to the Turin-based club following his departure from Manchester United on a free transfer in 2022. And that's the news this hour. Many thanks for watching. I'm Charles Pyer. See you in another 5 to 10 minutes for the morning show. Good morning.
You need to fix this thing together.
Waiting.
This thing, I see how my man dey.